Alright everybody, how are we doing today? Hopefully better than me, tired and in need of caffeine. Anyway. So, it has begun. Boris Johnson tells Germany and France, do a Brexit deal. This is from Reuters in Truro, England, London. Reuters Prime Minister Boris Johnson called on France and Germany on Monday to change their position on Brexit and negotiate a new exit deal for Britain, reiterating his stance and he is ready to leave the European Union without a deal if they do not. With Britain set to leave the bloc at the end of October, it has less than 74 days to resolve a 3-year crisis that is pitting the country against the EU and Parliament against the executive. We will be ready to come out on October 31st, deal or no deal, Johnson told reporters in Truro, southwest England. You're not going to get a new deal, pal. See, the thing is, they've already said that they're not willing to negotiate. You either have to go with the deal that was already negotiated by Theresa May, or you just have to exit, plain and simple. And then, of course, you have to deal with the Irish border situation. So, your position, my friend, is in no way enviable. Still, our friends and partners on the other side of the channel are showing a little bit of reluctance to change their position. That's fine. I am confident that they will, he said. Specifically about meetings scheduled this week with German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron, he said, I hope they will see fit to compromise. Johnson took office last month after his predecessor Theresa May failed 3 times to get Parliament to approve the withdrawal deal she had negotiated with the EU. Despite his insistence that Britain will leave in October with or without a transition deal, a majority in Parliament have previously tried to prevent a so-called no-deal Brexit. Johnson calls for the EU to renegotiate the deal, has so far been rejected by the bloc's negotiators. That puts Britain on course for an unmanaged exit, with an official statement, an official assessment published by the Sunday Times said would jam ports, increase the risk of public protests, and severely disrupt the world's 5th largest economy. The government said on Monday it would end EU freedom of movement immediately if it leaves the bloc without a deal, prompting concern from business and citizens' rights groups, but the uncertainty that would create. The risk of the return of a hard border between the British province of Northern Ireland and EU member Ireland is also a key concern in the event of a no deal, and Johnson spoke to his Irish counterpart Leo Varadkar by phone for almost an hour on Monday, agreeing to meet in Dublin in early September. Did he meet Varadkar in his car? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I had to. I am terrible. I am just the worst. Me and my goddamn puns. Oop, there's my language. I'm gonna get D-ranked now. Woohoo! Or maybe I'm allowed to say that one. Who knows? Either way, boy. I am just the worst when it comes to puns, nonetheless. But really, though, they're going to have to seriously, either way, they're seriously going to have to talk about the Irish border situation. Whether it's leave the EU or stay in, they're going to have to talk about it. And I don't expect that sort of thing to go very smoothly, mind you. But if you honor my impression of Leo Varadkar, he seems like a pretty reasonable guy. And as forceful as Boris Johnson himself can be, he seems fairly reasonable too on a number of points, so... Look, I'm not saying negotiation and sitting down at the table is like this magical solution to everything, but it's preferable to many of the alternatives. And if anyone can do it, these two certainly can. Still, in his first trip as Prime Minister, Johnson will meet Merkel in Berlin on Wednesday and Macron in Paris on Thursday. The European Commission, which is leading negotiations on behalf of France, Germany, and other EU members, said it was ready for a no-deal Brexit and that Britain would suffer most under such a scenario. On Sunday, Merkel said Germany would be prepared whatever the outcome. Ministers in Johnson's Conservative government have played down the leaked no-deal assessment on Sunday, saying the document was old and did not reflect increased funding and planning undertaken by the Prime Minister since he took office. They accused the opposition Labour Party and others who are opposed to a no-deal Brexit of undermining negotiations with the EU, saying European leaders will wait to see if Parliament can block such an outcome before deciding whether to renegotiate the deal. Parliament recall? Well, Johnson looked ahead to a weekend of foreign engagement which included a G7 meeting in France attended by U.S. President Donald Trump on Saturday, And Sunday, he faced increasing pressure at home to recall Parliament from its summer break to urgently debate the Brexit crisis. Lawmakers are already fretting that they do not have enough time to stop a no-deal Brexit, and they have yet to agree on a unified approach, which badly damages their chances of success. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn joined a call for Parliament to be recalled, saying during a speech in Corby, central England, that we will do everything to stop a no-deal Brexit. He said Johnson must not be allowed to use parliamentary procedure to block discussion of the country's future, referring to concerns that Johnson could suspend the legislature until after October 31st or delay a national election, and if this government fell before that date, we do support the recall of Parliament in order to prevent the Prime Minister having some kind of maneuver to take us out on the 31st of October without any further discussion in Parliament, Corbyn said. His comments added weight to a demand made on Sunday, signed by more than 100 lawmakers for parliamentary recall to discuss what they called a national emergency. To finish this article off, Parliament is currently not due to sit until September 31st, when it will reconvene for a short session before breaking up again to allow for annual party conferences. A government source said Michael Gove, the minister in charge of coordinating no-deal preparations, should give a statement to Parliament as soon as it returns, updating them on the latest progress. He would commit to give regular updates, the source said. Labour wants to bring down Johnson's government and form its own emergency coalition under Corbyn's leadership to delay Brexit. Other opponents of a no-deal Brexit have balked at supporting a plan that would put Corbyn in charge. Well, yeah, because Corbyn's party was not supported for prime ministership. He's barely even supported for most other things. But nonetheless, like I said, nothing's changed. If you want Brexit, you either got to go with the deal that's been negotiated, or no deal at all. I don't see the EU giving you what you want, no matter how much you pressure them. And really, if you try and pressure them at this point, you're really only hurting yourself. This is going to be very much a make-or-break moment for UK and Great Britain. Now, if you're asking what I would do, being about as familiar with the situation as I think an American can be, here's what I would do. I would just say, you know what, if her deal really sucks that bad, then we're going to push that no-deal Brexit, and while we're waiting on that, before October 31st, we're going to talk with Leo Varadkar and make an arrangement so that Ireland can be left relatively intact by the event. We'll set up a plan to fall back on, so when things get rough, we can fall back onto some sort of bank to keep us stable and afloat, and before long we'll stabilize and we're free from the EU. Some sort of resource bank for food, money, resources, you name it. Maybe you can get a little help from the US over here. Us across the pond, I'm sure we're more than willing to help you guys out. We're all friends these days, for the most part. Bottom line is, I don't think a no-deal Brexit is going to be as bad as they're making it out to be. It's going to be bad, yeah. It'll be a rough ride for certain. But it's not like you're not going to be without some help. And it's obvious that Johnson's talking to Varadkar about the Irish border situation. They're going to get something figured out. I know they are. Anyway, that's all. Peace!